Topping today's news, the government looks to have the Bahamas become more self-sufficient in egg production. The government not giving up on the Bahamas becoming a cryptocurrency hub. Prime Minister Philip Davis reacts to claims of him pandering on the illegal migration issues, and the redevelopment of the Abacos continue with a major investment project. Good evening, Bahamas. I'm Jareno Saunders. This is your JCN Evening News. It's a pleasure to have you join us. The government, through the Ministry of Agriculture, Marine Resources and Family Island Affairs and the Bahamas Agricultural and Industrial Corporation, BAIC, has invested more than $15 million into a project dubbed the Golden Yoke Production Project, a program which is hoped to make the Bahamas self-sustainable in egg production. In recent times, the price for a dozen eggs here in the capital approached $10. Agriculture Minister Clay Sweeting says his ministry's goal is to reduce food import dependency, empower Bahamians, grow healthier produce, and establish a national agricultural policy.
We have invested in the purchase of a new feed mill that will increase the availability, consistency, and quality to support the excellent program and the increase of poultry, but not only poultry, livestock production throughout the country. The first investment in a feed mill in over 40 years. Simultaneously and in conjunction with BAMC, we are establishing greenhouse parks throughout the country to increase the production of leafy greens and vegetables. We have addressed the long-standing issue of extension services to support our farmers by hiring qualified individuals who will specifically be trained to ensure that farmers are supported in their farms from land preparation to marketing of their produce. We continue to work with our international partners, FAO, CARDI, AICA, and partnering countries to engage in exchange of knowledge and technical capacity to grow the sector.
Executive Chairman of BAIC, Leroy Major, says they want to see more Bahamians seize economic opportunities, as it is the corporation's mandate to provide opportunities for all Bahamians.
The Golden Yoke Egg Production Project is a national initiative undertaken by Prime Minister the Honorable Philip Davis's New Day government, which is geared to the reduction of import food by 25% by the year 2025. This historic groundbreaking ceremony is a continuation of our long-term goal and achievement for food security and food sustainability. This project is aimed to promote the production and sale of quality and affordable eggs throughout the Bahamas, to reduce the importation of eggs, and to make the Bahamas self-sufficient in egg production. Ladies and gentlemen, this project will affect every island, every settlement, every person in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas.
The Golden Yoke production will be carried out on 12 family islands. 38 new grow houses are expected to be established throughout the country. Hitting back at comments made by former Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis, Prime Minister Philip Davis says his government will take a compassionate approach to dealing with the vexing issue of irregular migrants and shanty towns. We hear more in this next report. In what many critics may say was a shift in the Prime Minister's tone when he addressed a press conference at the close of CARICOM compared to what he said in his address to the nation days later regarding the illegal migrant crisis, former Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis says is a mixed confusion. He accused Prime Minister Davis of pandering in his approach to addressing the shantytown problems. However, Prime Minister Davis in response says he never shifted his tone.
I don't understand what he means by pandering. The overarching principle is that the rule of law must prevail and that we will be enforcing the law. I've always said that. There's no pandering or shift of my tone. That's what I've said, and I continue to say that. But I also say that the application of the law would be done compassionately and humanely. And so if he considers that the law ought to be enforced in a way that is not compassionate, which is that he's prone to do.
Being reminded by a childhood song, Jesus Loves the Little Children, Prime Minister Davis says we have to appreciate that we are dealing with human beings.
As I said in church the other day, I'm reminded that when I was in my Sunday school, we all taught this song. I don't know whether you all went to Sunday school, that Jesus loves little children, all little children of the world, red, yellow, black, or white. They're all precious in His sight. And so we all are. And we have to, in dealing with our people, we appreciate that we are all of the human race. And that's not pandering. That is acknowledging who we are as a people, without, though, compromising our own sovereignty and protecting the interests of our people in our jurisdiction, that is Bahamians. And they always be first in my books, and we are, as it were, willing to accept that migration will be a part of our country's history, will continue to be, but we do so within the means of our laws.
As for when action will be taken on shanty towns, Prime Minister Davis shares this much.
Demolition will come. That will come after some preliminary steps have been taken. As I indicated before, you don't want to solve one problem and then create another. You don't want to demolish places where people are living and they have no place to stay. That's one issue. We also, what I've said, and you would have heard me say that, first of all, documented Haitians who are in shanty towns, we are going to find who their employers are and oblige those employers to find a place for them to stay. Undocumented persons living in these shanty towns, we will process them and repatriate them. Bahamians who are living in the shanty towns, we'll speak to them and ask them to move out. That's a process. Once that is completed, and that is ongoing as I speak, and once all those are settled, then you'll see the shanty towns being demolished.
In a nationwide national broadcast, Prime Minister Davis announced the launch of Operation Secure, a collaborative security operation between the Royal Bahamas Defense and Police Forces and the Department of Immigration to address security and migrant-related issues in unregulated and unlawful communities. As the fight continues in Ukraine and world leaders contend with the possibility of a third world war, global tensions over the Russian-Ukraine conflict have deepened with a potential nuclear threat now looming. This raises the question, how will the ongoing war impact the sovereignty of small developing countries like the Bahamas? Prime Minister Davis shared his thoughts in this regard.
First of all, it's never good to have precedents out there where one powerful country is able to, without punity, invade others by insulting their sovereignty and right to determine their own destiny. That is something that is abhorrent to all international standards and abhorrent to the UN Charter of Rights of Nations that we've all signed on to. And so we have to support and condemn the invasion of Ukraine.
1 year since the war between Ukraine and Russia, Prime Minister Davis says, as chair of CARICOM, he will continue to support Ukraine in its fight against Russia. This comes on the heels of a plea made by President of Ukraine, Vladimir Zelensky, for continued support while addressing the CARICOM nations at their recent meeting held here in the Bahamas.
I had the president of Ukraine, Zelensky, address CARICOM on the Friday morning that we're here, and he urged us to continue to support him in his efforts against what is happening. And that's what we have done. There's a resolution that is before the UN that we have committed our support to, which we have been supporting, and we'll continue to support.
During his remarks, President Zelensky stressed that if Russia is successful in any way, the balance in the world will change in the favor of violence. According to Michael Halkitis, the Minister of Economic Affairs, the government of the Bahamas has not been discouraged from becoming a major cryptocurrency hub amidst the recent collapse and subsequent fallout from the FTX debacle. Mr. Halkitis was speaking during the Organization for Responsible Governance virtual economic roundtable discussions on Friday.
I don't think the idea has been abandoned. You'll see some more communication from us in terms of continuing to promote the jurisdiction. We had, of course, the unfortunate circumstances surrounding FTX. I think as more information has come to light, we've seen that our regulators have acted swiftly and appropriately. So we think it's still a space to, whereby we can become a hub. It is by its nature an industry that's very volatile. And, I think investors would be wise to treat it as such when it comes to their asset allocation. But I don't think we throw the baby out with the bathwater. I think it's still a viable niche.
Kwesi Thompson, the official opposition shadow minister of finance, was also a guest speaker during the discussion and also commented on the state of the cryptocurrency industry here in the Bahamas. He believes a thorough examination of the entire cryptocurrency circumstance is needed before moving forward.
Because I think we have to examine the DARE Act. Again, it was something that we on this side had passed. We were completely into pushing the Bahamas as a hub. We also still continue to agree that the Bahamas should still be pushed as a hub. But I think we have to, given what has taken place, we have to examine it, and we have to examine whether we have all of the necessary tools to move forward. We have to examine whether the Securities Commission has all of the necessary tools to move forward. Does the DARE Act need to be adjusted? So I think we have to look at take a look at it and see what the way how we can improve and how we can learn from what has taken place. But I agree, we should continue and push this industry 100%.
Again, Minister Halkida says the government will soon release its plans on what direction and actions it will take in regards to moving forward in the cryptocurrency space. And finally, in this segment, millions of dollars have already been pumped into a multi-million-dollar boutique project on Montage Key, just off the capital, Marsh Harbor, Abaco, a major boost for the island, which is still recovering from the devastating impact of Hurricane Dorian in 2019. Sterling Global Development of Luxury Residences, Marina, and Resort has partnered with Montage International to develop a $352.2 million project. An official groundbreaking ceremony took place on Monday with Prime Minister Philip Davis, Minister of Tourism, Investments and Aviation, Deputy Prime Minister Chester Cooper, both in attendance. Prime Minister Davis says the multi-million-dollar project is a timely one for Abaco.
Montage Key here in Abacos is the 8th project in the Montage collection projects. Projects like these are important for diversifying our tourism portfolio and ensuring that our tourist and luxury product remains vibrant and competitive in an ever-growing and developing global market. The Bahamas has always prided itself on its ability to attract, facilitate, and encourage world-class resort development, as well as remaining on the cutting edge of innovation in the market. I believe that Montage Key is a fitting addition to the market and stands to make a big impact here in Abacos.
Along with Executive Chairman of Sterling Global Financial, David Kasoy, and CEO of Montage International, Alan Firstman, the groundbreaking follows the grand opening of Sterling Global's Hurricane Hole Super Yacht Marina on Paradise Island. In unveiling its newest resort property and first in the Bahamas, Chairman of Sterling Global Financial, David Kasoy, says this marks a milestone.
I'm sure you see we probably broke ground 6 months ago. We've started pre-sales and done a lot. So there are many millions of dollars already put into here. We intend to do way more. You have a country here that is totally incredible. And I honestly believe many times you take it for granted. And I can only tell you, get the kids back here, get them working here. We have a lot of Bahamians working with us, and we have a lot of our team here today who made this possible, along with a lot of the government officials and the blessed physical aspects that you have in this country.
CEO of Montage International, Alan Firstman, also in attendance. DPM Cooper congratulating the Sterling Group and says the promise made by the Davis administration to not only rebuild Abaco but revolutionize it is being fulfilled.
It's good for our brand, and certainly it's good for tourism. It's great for investments and the product that we're building across the country. A special congratulations to Sterling, David, and Kalis and the entire team for the magnificent work that you're doing, not just here, but in many of those developments you reference across the country. I believe I can go on record in saying that Sterling is the gold standard when it comes to developments. They don't just start them, they don't just break ground, they finish them.
Montage Key sits on a private 53-acre island. The island will be one of the premier luxury resorts and residences in the Caribbean and will feature a 50-suite hotel. Its scheduled opening date is slated for 2024. Meanwhile, we'll hear more on the redevelopment of the Abacos in the next segment. We'll take a break here. We'll be right back after these commercials.
This segment of the news has been brought to you by Sun Oil Limited.